What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we're going to be talking none other than about the two new advanced decks that came out for JP. They are starting to affect the meta slowly. They just came out Friday, but there has been quite a few tops, so I wanted to take a look at what people are starting to design the decks like, so you guys can get a feel for maybe how you want to build in the future. So without further ado, let's dive into the video and talk about it. So first off, let's get into it straight up. So yes, it's only been out for a few days. So statistically, yeah, there should be some increased play and results, right? Well, that is factual what is happening here. So first off, we've seen just two tops in the recent couple of days using the ace cards, but they are using some of the newer cards in the main core. So, and the same thing can be said about the Garurumon deck. Normally, what on Japanese Tuesday I would discuss points in where stuff is leading up to in the meta, but for now, I think it's a good synopsis to take a look at what is coming up the shadowy future. First off, this is what Garurumon is coming to, especially with the restriction coming in place. This might be what people will move over to for now, and it might be the best option. And I'll explain a little bit further, but reason for that, let's take a look at it. First off, Lament of Friendship. So return one of your Digimon from your trash to your hand, then one of your Digimon with Garurumon its name gains on deletion. Play this card without paying its cost until the end of opponent's turn. So if your Digimon were to die in any capacity, even on your opponent's turn, it would be replayed. And that's really scary in some circumstances because of how the deck operates. So now you're not really OTKing as much. It is a more centralized idea with the ace card to basically force your opponent's turn to pass. And that's really useful because being able to counter most plays really means that your opponent now has to think about what they're going to do, and especially MetalGaururumon Ace probably being one of the most powerful level 6 aces in game and ace in general, just because being able to toss 4 cards, especially in purple, with you have like Underworld's Calling, which lets you, when this card is trashed from your hand, draw a card. This is going to be huge, allowing you to keep that tempo of lost cards and keeping it going forwards. And then you have like Nidhogg, so that if you trash this from hand because it's on your opponent's turn, you might not need to trash as much cards. Let's say you only needed 3, so you trash up to 2 cards and you trash a Nidhogg. This would instantly pass the turn to your side, now setting yourself up. The new Matt Ishida is pretty good as well as a memory setter, because when you trash a card from your hand, using one of your effects by suspending this tamer, gain a memory. So this also helps with the ace effect too. So a lot of this does add up, especially with a lot of them, like the new Gabumon, when attacking, draw, then trash 1 card from your hand. This is all adding up to being draw, 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 constantly cycling, getting your pieces going. You know, Garurumon, this one, security may play 1 Gabumon or Tamer with Matt Ishida from your hand or trash without paying its cost. And then when Digivolving, draw 1 card, trash 1 card. Really solid there. And then when attacking, draw a card, then trash 1 card from your hand. So again, you're going to be cycling, extending your plays, comboing out, and using like cards like Underworld Calling to lead into lethal scenarios. Like even this, where Garurumon, when attacking by trashing 1 card in your hand, unsuspend this Digimon. So this card then can basically swing twice. Hopefully, even with the Garurumon X antibody underneath it, keeps the tempo going. So he can at least do a couple attacks with nothing to really worry about. Doesn't have a lot of pressure, like it doesn't have a security, but when attacking by trashing 1 card in your hand, delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lowers. So you can either bounce a 4 or lower, or, you know, you could bounce and then delete the second one. So now they kind of have a clear board and you can just go from there. And then using cards like Nkaku Promote can lead to being very nasty as well, just because of how this deck plays out. So definitely keeping that in mind, especially with Wisdom Training, being able to reduce the Digi-Evolution cost too, which helps in the long game. But you do have some blues, so you can whiff. But the deck's going to do what it wants to do. You're going to apply pressure. It's not as much as an OTK deck, as I said. It is more of a mid-rangey kind of style of play. You kind of are controlling, you're drawing, you're cycling into pieces you want, and then using MetalGaururumon Ace as a, well, you know what, let's pass your turn kind of scenario. So, and especially if every turn that keeps coming back, you're just preventing your opponent from doing something, can lead to being a very frustrating way of playing against your opponent. And it's just how this deck wants to go. And I think that's not a terrible design, don't you? So then we do have the Wargreymon deck. So let's see what they're kind of doing with it. So taking a look at it, for those Ultimate Cup fans that have been waiting to build a black base Agumon, well, Greymon deck, you can actually do that finally. So they have like Koromon here. When all turns, when an attack target is switched, this Digimon gets plus 1000 DP. Really nasty. Raid effects really are good here. Or if you have blocker and now your opponent is really dealing with some nasty stuff here. You know, the new Tai Kamiya start a turn, sets you to 3, but all turns when an attack target is switched, by suspending this tamer, draw a card, and one of your Digimon gets plus 2000 DP for the turn, making him big, beefy, and nasty. Especially since Wargreymon Ace is a blocker in its own right. You don't have to play the other tie, but if you were playing Ulti Cup, basically you would take the Cool Boys and X Antibodies out and just play that. Instead, the other tie. But taking a look at it, it's not a bad deck. I mean, we're doing the same things we always wanted to. You have Wargreymon Ace, so all turns when a card is removed from the security stack, unsuspend this Digimon. So there's always a once per turn at least being able to restand up, which isn't bad. And being that burst Digi-Evolution for free evolution on your opponent's turn can be really nasty. You know, then you have like MetalGaururumon with the Raid, where you can go into MetalGaururumon X Antibody with that security plus from the X Antibody stack. Now your opponent is losing a few security, and what can get really nasty is, depending on situations, you can set up Wargreymon Ace to counter so that basically they can't overextend. You'll have a blocker on board and set yourself up. You know, you have Agumon here for starting your main phase. If your opponent has a Digimon in play, gain a memory, but all turns when attack target switch, gain a memory. So blocker does get some decent headway here. Which is really nice is they are playing the black Agumon X Antibody. You could go red based as well. There's no real wrong way to build this deck, to be honest with you. It has a lot of potential. Has a lot of black text boxes, so it doesn't matter which Agumon you use anymore. It's gotten to the point where it doesn't matter either way. And then you have like this security Greymon that is a blocker, but you may play one Agumon or tie from your hand or trash without paying its memory cost. Security Greymon is really going to be interesting. And then all turns when an attack target switch, gain 1 memory. So this is all great value for this deck in general. I mean, hey, the deck's going to do what it wants to do. So taking a look into this, you kind of start seeing like the deck still synergizes how it wants to be. There's no real wrong. The bursts aren't seeming to be over dominating right now, but we'll have to check next week if that's going to be still the case. There can definitely be a lot of changes and everything like that. So, you know, we have to pay attention closely on this kind of meta. And, you know, taking a look, it's right now we're kind of in only a couple weeks. We have like Beelzemon, which is going to get nerfed in a couple weeks. So that might change up how statistics go, just because that now dynamic isn't as milling as fast and he's not applying as much pressure. You have like Mirage Gauga definitely coming up because of the trainers, you know, plants and fairies. So we have a lot of things going for these decks. Plant Fairy is going to get knocked down a bit. Not really as much because it'll just be Rosemon. If not, it'll just be Bloomlord with one less Blossom. It's not as terrible as what people are making out to be. You have like Shine Greymon, Blue Flare, Royal Knights. Kind of surprised to see Royal Knights actually falling down this much. But hey, this is kind of just what happens when people are excited for the starter decks. They kind of start falling off what they were just playing. They do switch over, and that's just kind of commonplace. You know, you got like all these good decks coming across the board. And I have no objections. There's plenty of stuff. Oh, let me just take a look at this deck here. Let's this be our final deck we kind of look at, which is very interesting to me. It doesn't have any burst mode going on for it, or the Ace Mons, but it's very rare when we see, you know, Sukuyamon actually do extremely well. And taking a look at it, They are teching the new Biofrost, which is the Katorismon's new option. They are using Megiddo, the option that basically minuses 3000 DP for a full rotation. I like that they're using this Digimon. It's been a hot second since Lord Nightmon. Kind of cool. You have like Pulsemons, Renamons, security. This Securitymon here. Boltmon, which is really interesting to see Boltmon, the promo. So it's kind of good to see that they are adapting. Maybe this might change up in trainers being a 2 cost, being able to replay it for free. Not a bad trade-off. No, it's not focusing on the plugins, by the way. It's focusing on the 5 play cost and the 2 play cost, and being able to search out. So all in all, this is pretty solid too, just taking a look at. Maybe it might be something you guys want to take a look at with Renamon, especially since, it's a, Renamon's deck isn't topping as much as you want it to be, but it's kind of good to see just the deck do fine anyway. So guys, what did you think of this video? Let me know down in the comments. Hopefully you guys are excited for the new aces, and hopefully you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace!